lovely Miss Lauren Blagg. So Lauren's pieces are over here to your right. It's set up pretty similar to when she's working in her garage, which I've been a very welcome and grateful guest to get to be a part of. So Lauren, do you consider yourself an artiste? An artist?
Well, here, that's a loaded question. No, it's funny. At work today, we had a work meeting, and I work in an architecture firm, and somehow that question did come up, or someone said that I was an artist, and I was like, I paint. Like, I stopped short of saying that I'm an artist, and yeah, I hold that title in really high regard, and it's hard for me to say that I'm an artist. I paint. I'd like to get to the point where I feel comfortable saying that I'm an artist, but I have all kinds of my own holdups. Like, I don't make my living from my art. It's something that helps keep me sane, for sure, and that I love doing. But the whole thing with what I brought tonight was a lot of this is unfinished pieces and thoughts and ideas, and I'll let that happen, and I'll put it aside, and I will let other things take over. And so yeah, until I get to that point, I think me being able to call myself an artist is a goal, but right now I'll say I paint.
Well, now this is also coming from someone who's had a couple showcases around town and done some, what is it called when it's like an art show?
Art show?
I do these things so I can learn more. FYI, that's mainly what's behind all of this, so I can get educated. So I'm really pleased that you brought things that you feel vulnerable about and that you wanted to share in a totally different way than the other ways that I've gotten to see you share your art. So do you have a family that really supports what you do, and has art been like?
My grandmother has always really supported what I've done, like since I was doing stuff in junior high and entering my art into UIL art contests. I don't know if
What
that's
is that?
University Interscholastic League. It was a Texas thing, I guess. But she still has my very first oil painting, which I got to do secretly in junior high. We weren't allowed to use oil paints, but my art teacher was really cool and let me go in the supply closet and was like, don't tell anybody you're using these kind of paints.
Sounds like you were a favorite.
We were only allowed to use tempera back then. So grandma still has that painting. My parents were very much you work to make money to support the things that you love to do. So they didn't really take art seriously. Or even when I wanted to be an art teacher or whatever, they're like, no, do something else. And not unfortunately, because I do love what I do, but I listened and, or I let that affect my choices. But now, it's interesting now that I'm older, like, I do a lot of, my parents, again, Texas, very conservative, bless their hearts. I do a lot of nudes and things like that, nothing like pornographic, but who's to say what's pornographic or not. And my stepmom used to ask, like, why would you do that? Why would you paint that? Just like a naked lady. Well, because I wanted to. And anyway, they've come around more, and now I get they're mad at me because I haven't painted anything for them. Like I didn't even know that they were into it. So no one ever discouraged me, but no one ever really pushed for that, I guess. So, and again, as I've grown, they've grown as well, and that's been really cool to see.
What inspires you to do nudes, or what? Because nudes, that's kind of what drew me to you as well. That sounds fun.
So guys, let's tell the story while we know each other.
When we were first becoming friends, we met like in biology class, and then
It was chemistry.
You're not helping.
It was
chemistry
class.
chemistry. And we went and had wine one night at your house, and then there was a painting out, and I was like, oh, I really like this. Like, where'd this come from? And she said, oh, I did that. I was like, what? Like, you get to discover these layers about people, and it's things that I just had no idea. You know what I mean? And I love that then it came up, and I was like, oh my God, you're like brilliant at this. Like, you're great, and it's something that I would not have known if I wasn't at your home drinking wine with you and seeing something and pointing to it and saying, where did this come from? And one of them was a nude, and that was, you could tell that that's like your jam.
So it is my jam. I love painting nudes.
How did like the first nude start, and who was your model? How did that come to?
The first nude was actually a near and dear friend, Riley, who's coming tonight. So I don't know where she is, and it was commissioned. But
doing it right from the beginning.
No, I don't. I mean, life drawing classes, painting bodies. Like I really like. I like the shadows and the shapes that bodies create. I just really love it. I think it's beautiful. I think they're interesting. There's something, especially coming from a conservative upbringing, like being able to just, I can paint naked people. Like I personally don't like to show off my body or whatever, but I can paint things in a way that expresses that like nudity is beautiful. It's not necessarily sexual, but it can be all kinds of different things. And nice photo.
Very nice work, Chris.
But I think it's empowering to paint nudes, and yeah, I just think the human body is beautiful, and I think desexualizing it in a way is what it is for me. It's showing the beauty without having it be something that like is, I don't know, it's a safe, I don't know, it's safe to me. It's so
I don't think I've seen any male nudes.
I've had that question asked by several people. Private collection.
There's like a bunch of rock posted up around your house.
Everyone's
posing.
It's unprivate here. Let's go.
It's actually really funny. So in life drawing classes, there are male models, and back when I was 19 and like getting into this, like, oh my god, I should have brought those sketches like on newsprint. Yes. There's always a void in the crotchal region. Like I was like, I feel bad staring at your penis. So it would be. So now,
no, you're not
totally staring at a penis. No, but I think. No, now I think the nudes that I choose to paint I paint things to express my thoughts and feelings and things that I can relate to and try to express. And I don't have that relationship with having them.
What are you saying?
I don't know. And to me, when I'm painting it, again, it's me. I'm getting to do whatever I want. It's very selfish. I am getting to express whatever I want to express and emote what I want to emote. Now, I have no qualms against painting nude dudes, but it would be an exercise for me, because I would be then painting a figure almost for the sake of painting a figure. I haven't had that inspiration yet to just like my thought or feeling would be expressed by painting a naked man. Sure. That's it. But I mean, I do commissions, so.
I just have to be there.
Keep it down.
Right. We're gonna have like double male nudes.
He also has to be nude.
Okay, so when you're, although I haven't gotten to watch you like painting someone live when they're there. I get to see you when you're in your space and you're just creating on your own terms. And within those bounds, are there certain elements that you need to have like be just so that you're feeling like in your artist zone?
Yeah, definitely. Usually a glass of red wine, 99% of the time. 99.7. And now I'm lucky enough that we have a garage that I've taken over as my art studio. So I get out there, I have my music. I always have to have my music, and my playlist varies. It depends on my mood, but yeah, music, wine, I've got my salt lamp that I brought with me.
It's like real salt.
It's real salt. You can look at it, salty. My easel that has traveled with me everywhere. My color wheel. I have photographs. I have like a couple of pieces of art that that inspire me, and yeah.
With music, you were saying that that's really important to you.
Mm-hmm.
Has there been an artist that or a band that made things come out of you that you were like, oh shit, that's surprising, and kind of made you delve deeper into them?
Anybody that's vulnerable lyric wise or willing to play with like different time signatures or whatever, just like get weird and where you're evoking feeling. Yeah. And lately I've been listening to a lot of, I love my Shaky Graves and Rainbow Kitten Surprise. Oh my god. Yeah, I've been listening to them a lot while I paint too, so.
Last question. So, you get to have your creative time and creative space, but then every artist that isn't having their art pay their bills. When you wake up in the morning and you're like, now I gotta go do my whatever you gotta do. What's that like? And do you get to have your art be in there at all, or?
So my whatever it is I gotta do that pays the bills is I work in architecture, and there are times where I do get to be purely creative, like conceptual, and just like think in that mindset. But the majority of my day we do a lot of school architecture, so it's really serious business. What I do get to do, which is different than what I get to do when I'm in my garage with my candles and music and wine, it's this problem solving that is creative, and so sometimes it feels stifling, but when I get my quiet moments and get to listen to music and think through a problem, like it stimulates a
problem
different.
Solving is stimulating an artistic element.
It's creative for certain. You try to work your way around the California building code, let me tell you, you get very creative. But yeah, it's stimulating. It stimulates a part of the brain where you're not just reproducing or recreating or just vomiting out an answer. Like finding answers, solving problems is creative, and I do get to do that, but I would like it to be a little more free and try to find that balance. So
solving the world's problems with art.
The world's
Makes
problems.
a lot of sense, actually. Amen, sister. Thank you so much. Give it up for Miss Melissa.
Thank you all for listening.
Thanks for telling. Refill anyway. Okay, refilling. Give us five. On to this guy. So Chris Weakley, I know him because he's an American shredder. He's an amazing shredder.
I play guitar, buddy.
He plays guitar, and I got to know him as a musician, and he was one of the most amazing guitarists that I've ever met. He could just sit down with anything, and he gets this calm about him, and he soaks it in, and he lets things come out in this amazing, beautiful artistic way. I didn't get to know that he was an artist until later. I don't even know how it came up, but you were like, yeah, I paint or something like that.
Solid impression. Yeah, I paint, so what? Who cares?
FYI, this guy's funny. Really funny. And I didn't curse. So before I just keep talking about you, Chris, do you consider yourself an artist?
Not really, because I don't make my living from art, and that's kind of what I feel like.
Again.
Yeah, I feel like that's a solid, if I was getting paid lots of money to be here, selling my artwork or anything like that, I would consider that an artist. But I worked this morning, very early in the morning, and then came here. So.
What time would you consider early?
4:45 a.m. in the morning. I feel like
So
that's
you had to
pretty early.
be there at that time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like that's pretty early.
So you had to do your makeup, and you had to brush
Makeup, hair,
all of it.
push-ups, lots of push-ups.
Oh my
But no, I feel like I just feel like I'm more of a creative person. Yeah, I feel like it's more creative than an actual artist.
So much like humility and humbleness, I feel like, is kind of a resounding thing with people that I meet that I feel are artists. So where did this inspiration come from for you to start creating? What was the first thing you did that made you think?
The first thing I did. Well, growing up, we did like a lot of arts and crafts at home, which was fun. Like did like flower sculptures. I don't know if everyone
Who's
did it. Me and my imaginary friends. No, my family. My mom is a really good artist. She's a really good drawer, and we used to like sculpt and do just silly stuff as kids. I have an older brother, younger sister, so we'd all create stuff. So that's kind of where it started. Then in school, did a lot of artwork in school.
Sounds like an awesome mama.
Yeah, she's great. Thanks, Mom.
Sculpting, so...
Yeah, so like we used to have this crazy, I was born in the 80s, so we had these like crazy art craft books. So you could like make clay out of like flour and water, basically making dough, and you cook in the oven, and you could have like a solid piece of unedible dough that you could paint afterwards.
Did you try tasting it? I tried tasting it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it was flour and salt and all that other stuff.
Delicious.
So we do stuff like that, and drawing, painting, all those kinds of things. Watercolor, like those like fun books where you just dip the thing in water and.
Okay, what made you think you were good at some point?
Great question. Well, I took a lot of art classes in high school. I was lucky enough to have like a super solid art instruction team. Where like these two they basically retired the year after I left.
You had an art instruction team?
Well, they were a duo that were there for like 35 years or something like that before I got to that school. So they were like, they knew what to do. They were really good. And then I had some stuff in like a student art show, which was exciting to like see your name next to your art piece and people looking at it.
Mm-hmm. So take a gander. These are Chris's pieces over here.
And they read very well from far away.
I'm getting to see pieces that I've never seen before. Is that a penis down there?
Great question. I've been asked this many times tonight. And it's actually a church. No, I'm joking.
It's a broken penis.
It's it could be a broken penis. It's supposed to be like this crazy. I just do like a lot of like abstract stuff, and like whatever happens happens. This just happens to be a penis-looking head.
Okay, so as a musician, I'm a musician too. That's how I knew you as originally. Do you have different things that inspire you to? You're like, oh, actually, this is making me feel like I want to paint, or this is making me feel like I want to shred on my
play guitar.
Does that look funny when I do that?
No, I feel like it's more of a just start doing it kind of thing. I should do something. Let me bust out the paints, and then I'll start and see what happens.
Okay, productivity sort of thing.
Yeah. Which I feel like it comes into like the creative realm of things, where it's just like pick your medium, make something happen, fails, succeeds.
Okay, so there must be some sort of end game that makes you feel good about it, to know that like, oh, if I need to do something, this is one of the things that I need to do.
Yeah, I mean it's always nice to like finish something. I feel like in music a lot of times like the end game is you finish recording the song or you play a show in front of people. But then, like, you keep playing a show, and you keep playing more shows. Like, the penis down here. Like, I'm not doing anything else with that. That's done.
What's going on with these notebooks here?
So last year, Monica and I decided to do a sketch a day.
Who's Monica?
Oh, my lady. You'll be seeing more of her work later. So she had an idea to basically do a drawing a day, and I thought it was really like a fun creative idea.
Wait, that was your idea? That didn't come from like a...
It came from my brother.
Yeah, because he was doing like a drawing like every day in October or something like that.
Yeah.
Because there's like a whole thing like Inktober or the monster. Like there's always like these weird things.
I think he was just doing like an exercise to like just like make sure he was doing something every day.
Yeah, so I did a drawing a day
for a year.
For all of last year.
Holy smokes.
Some days we missed it because life happens. But then I always made up the next day. So yeah, there's 365 solid drawings in there.
Are one of your favorites right on the forefront?
Oh, no, not at all.
All right, we'll leave that be. So people can peruse through those if they want.
Yeah, which is interesting because like the only other person that's seen it has been Monica. No one else has really seen it. I think a few people have seen like random ones. But yeah, it's funny because it's like the part of the whole trying to be creative and just like having to do it every single day was like such a commitment where it's like a lot of these are really bad in my opinion, but it's like done, like did it, it's accomplished, and some of them are kind of cool. I like some of them.
Lauren said, is music a big thing for you when you're creating too? Do you get into the space and?
No, I usually listen to the same album or band if I'm doing something. So like if I start working on, I'm not gonna talk about this guy anymore. Let's say I was painting these guys, which definitely do not look like phalluses. If I start painting, I'm like starting to feel it while I'm listening to something. I'll only listen to that album until I'm done.
Okay, what are you committed to right now?
I'm not painting anything right now. I was listening to Porches, the new Porches album.
For which ones?
For those two guys and those two guys.
What about that one in the middle?
This one?
Yes.
Porches, I think, too. Yeah. A lot of these are recents, so I usually listen to like an album nonstop for like 2 or 3 months and then put it aside.
What about like Porches made you really fixate on that and?
It wasn't so much that band or album like making me like feel creative. It was more of I want to listen to it, I put it on, things seemed to start like working out, and that was just like something I wasn't changing. Like it was a constant that I didn't want to change.
Are you in love with art? Have you fallen in love with art?
Man, I wish I could read the answer I wrote. I don't think, I mean, it's one of those tricky things where it's not like, I don't feel like I'm in love with art, but also if I don't do something creative for a while, I get upset. I don't want to say depressed, because I feel like that's a very strong term, but if like I don't do anything musically, or if I'm just like hanging out not doing anything, I'm just like, what am I doing?
So you're depressed if you don't do it.
I'll say sad.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, not depressed.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't know if it's whether it's like really that I am, like I love doing art, or if it's just like I despise not doing it.
You confused me.
I'm very confused myself. I wish you asked me these questions earlier.
When you're not getting to create, doing music or art or any other avenue, because I know that you guys do a lot of creative stuff. You like whittle stones and...
Yeah, I mean, I do sculptures. We actually do, we take like a cabochon class, so like...
Cabochon, I don't even know what that was.
Yeah, so it's like, like making jewelry and stuff.
Sure, cabochon.
So yeah, you take a stone and you like shape it so it looks beautiful and polish it and all that stuff.
Yeah. But so when you're waking up, is it like, when I go here, I still get to express this here, or what's your job? Do you love what you do?
I'm an operations manager.
Like operation.
Yeah, like the game operation. I like basically go to like schools and I'm like, are the batteries even in there, kid? And they're like, no.
I get all nervous.
Yeah, so I replace the batteries in the operation game.
That's great.
No, the same thing as Lauren was saying. Like I have a degree in mathematics. Woo!
She didn't say
Please sit
that.
down. Which is like another like creative thing. Like you're solving problems. You have to be creative in the way you're doing it. So I feel like you can look at anything and just be like.
I'm still not getting how the problem solving, because...
So, like, the way I look at a lot of things, so, like, if you're making some food, right, you have these ingredients and you have to do something to make it into something delicious, right?
Sure.
So you have to learn how to do that or be creative if you're trying to do something on your own. If you want to paint something, you gotta go like, okay, cool, what colors do I want? What do I want to paint? What do I want to use? So it's like all just like, taking these things and trying to create something better with them.
Well said. Amen to you too, brother. That's how I ended it with Lauren, I think. Gosh darn it. All right, where do people find...
I'm here every February 22nd. Now I'm on Instagram.
What's your Instagram doobity-doo?
doobidydoo.org.
Is that
Um,
D-U-B?
Do double.
Yeah, there's a lot more use than you'd think. There's a lot of them in there.
Do.
I don't even know what my Instagram handle is. CL Weakley.
Legend.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Chris Weakley.
It's
if you
there's a
search
check
it.
mark on it. Yeah.
Is there a Q&A? I have a question.
Yeah,
Sure.
please.
How do you like define time parameters with your art pieces? Like, how do you find out when you're done? Like, can you?
That is really tricky. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well-
'Cause I do video editing, and like sometimes I can work on a project forever,
Yeah.
but sometimes time restrict you. Like, I gotta get this out now. Like,
Mhm.
how do you define those timelines?
It's really tricky. I mean, obviously, a lot of my stuff's more abstract, and
That's clearly a penis.
yeah, it's an abstract
Sorry.
penis.
Sorry.
This is gonna get pulled off
Sorry,
of
I'm sorry.
whatever
Keep going.
way you post it.
We'll do some
So-
editing later.
Yeah, so it's starts off with a general idea, and then it just gets to a point where I feel like I'll mess it up if I keep going.
Do you ever like pull something off the wall and be like, I need to add something to this, or do you just kind of let it be?
It's pretty rare that I do that.
But it
Yeah,
has happened.
it has happened before, but a lot of times it's more of like a, man, I wish I didn't do that. Done.
How do I go back 12 steps?
Yeah,
Peel
which
that
is
off.
which is true, but I mean it's helpful too. I mean I spend a lot of time like sculpting, which makes it a little bit like with clay or wax or whatever, where you can like make those mistakes and go back and be like, oh, that never happened. And which you can do a lot with painting too, but like with some of the styles that I use to paint, it makes it really tricky.
Yeah,
where I'm
with
just like,
medium, you can't really.
I hate that color. Why did I do that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you don't give yourself like, I gotta finish this on Friday and let it be after that.
Let's say, for example, I had an event on a Friday night
Is
that I
paint
felt.
still wet?
No, this is one of the older ones, but like, I do try to do like time restrictions. Like these two, I finished today, and it shows. But yeah, I usually try not to limit it. I mean, I don't have like a really good workspace, so it's more of like, when do I want to clean up all my stuff? What do I have next? And then that's when I kind of stop.
Do you have like a sense of closure sometimes?
Yeah, definitely.
Cool.
Yeah, which is really nice. Again, going back to the music thing, like you can go forever. Like
Working on a song or something.
there's songs that have been like you can like always make improvements, and at some point you just gotta go like, I'm done. And then that's nice because you're like, I finished. I don't have to worry about it anymore.
It could be better, but I'm finished.
Yeah. No one's gonna think it looks like a.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
And in case you haven't been here before, this is a place where you're certainly welcome. You don't have to know anybody. You don't have to understand. He is one of those people who will invite you in, make you feel welcome. And the people that she curates, which is the process along with curating the art, are people that will be happy to help you feed your difference. People who are happy to embrace what makes your corner of the world unique, odd, and appreciated by the people here. Without further ado, Thea and the next artist.
In 5, 4.
Have a seat, Monica. Brittany, you want it?
You're part of it.
Brittany's been
I
pretty
am
great.
part of the production.
Birthday!
Hey, I want to say thank you again to all of you for coming here and bringing your energy and your vibe and everything that goes into being an artist and goes into being a human that is not willing to live a life that someone else is saying you should live. I might have had someone's like EpiPen of something. It was an EpiPen of something.
I think it was a.
Monica. Lueddeke.
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 Mm-hmm.
What does that mean?
It means my last name.
MJL. So this is beautiful. I've got a few of your pieces in my home because I love them. And you did all of these with markers?
Mm-hmm.
How does that happen? What markers are you buying?
So, like Chris said, Chris is my boyfriend. We live together. We do a lot of a lot of art projects together. So when I wanted to do this drawing a day,
You were like,
it was after Christmas. My brother was visiting, and he was telling me about his thing. I'm like, oh, I want to do this, and like I want to do a drawing a day. And Prismacolor markers have always been my favorite, and it was a post-Christmas sale, and I got a big box, and I've been using them all year.
yeah. So this drawing a day came from your brother who was visiting from
Los Angeles.
Los Angeles, and he does art too.
Yeah, he's an amazing artist.
What does he do? Not
He-
for too long, but just give us a brief.
He does CGI. He's done like animation for a long time, but he does all kinds of crazy drawings and like he's way
Kind of
better.
similar. Better? I wouldn't say that. What are I?
No, he's
seen
way
him,
better
but
than I am. Like technically and creatively.
I'm wondering what that means because.
He used to
Like-
get paid a lot of. He gets paid a lot of money.
So you're
for
saying
his
he's
art.
better because he got paid a lot of money for his art?
Well, he's more talented. and-
What does that mean?
It means he's really good. Like you've seen his work in movies.
Okay. But your work is amazing.
Woo!
So you have a family that's into the arts and is supportive of. Okay.
I do something, but I don't know what I want to do, and I always had this weird idea of like putting a bunch of words on a piece of paper in a jar, and then like picking the words out of a jar, and that's what I'm gonna draw. And then I think Chris was like, "Why don't you use a random word generator? It'd be way
It's
easier."
like the jar with the. Yeah, it's already done.
Yeah, so we started with that.
And so then these down here are.
These are all my sketchbooks for the whole year. So I did a drawing a day for the entire year. I think there was one day that I missed that I didn't do anything for.
One out of a whole year.
Session. I went to like a live model drawing session. I did 2 pages. So
Okay.
but for the most part, yeah, like every single day.
That's awesome. So kind of having some direction, would you say is that what inspires you to create? Or are there times when there's no direction and you're...
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I feel really creative and I want to make something and I don't know what I want to make. And then I'll just spend like all day trying to figure it out, or, yeah, direction helps. Direction and motivation, I think, is the key.
Does being with another person who does things in the similar vein help motivate you?
Yeah, because, so I grew up, my family's creative. I have an uncle and aunts on both sides of my family that went to art school, and my mom's creative. Like, she didn't work growing up, so we didn't have like, whenever like latest toys came out, like it wasn't like, oh, Merry Christmas, here's this. My mom would be like, I made you a pound puppy, or I made you this, and this is how you make clothes for your hand-me-down Barbie. And you know, I mean, not to sound like terrible, like we had no money, but it was just like we just made stuff, and that's what we did together. And you want something, you make it. And like when I see my uncle, he would make us cartoons, and it was just very natural to create and make things. Like, if you want it, you make it. If you think it, you make it. And then I ended up going to art school later after high school, and I didn't finish for various reasons. And in my 20s, I had a boyfriend that he didn't really care at the time, so.
You're saying he didn't have a bejeweled jean jacket?
No, he would not be a bejeweled jean jacket. But no, but so he would come home and be like, "Oh my God, look what I made today," and he never really cared, and it kind of wore on me that like, oh, this doesn't matter, and I didn't realize it for a long time, and it was always a struggle to kind of get back into it, and then since being with Chris and he's creative and open to doing all kinds of weird ideas, I have like
Penis.
like
It's not weird.
that was his idea. But like making bejeweled jean jackets together, like you know, it's hard to find someone that would do that, and then be like, let's go on a trip and we'll wear them. So it helps a lot, yeah.
So art, what is art to you then? Since you got to kind of have it be a very comfortable thing from a very early age, and like,
I don't know, art is everything. I mean, it's, you know, it's whatever you want it to be. It's when you have a vision or you see something that makes you happy or like evokes any kind of emotion, is, you know, someone created that. So
well said. I think a lot of people think things and sometimes imagine things or dream things and think that they're silly or discount them, and like those are the things that create really amazing stuff. It's like any of that, if that happens, it's like a blessing and a gift, and do something with it, you know, or don't, but see it as kind of a blessing, as like, oh, there's something in you that says you're artistic and you're creative and something's reaching out to you. So don't think that if you have a crazy idea or a crazy thought or a crazy anything, that it's not like a hidden gift or something, or something in disguise to do something.
Yeah, like I love classical art, I love all kinds of art, but I think pop art was always my favorite because it's
What makes pop art?
Pop art is just like weird, more contemporary art that's more like popular culture. Like I always, even
So
I
it
just
would look like Bruno Mars.
so
Andy
music
Warhol.
isn't, yeah, like Andy Warhol or
Oh, great, that's totally different.
but I mean like anything that's kind of weird. Like I used to collect a lot of action figures, but I was also like say like my musical tastes aren't necessarily pop music at all, but I used to love like pop culture collectibles. So like when I was 21 or 22, and I would just like search for weird things, and I would collect like horror movie action figures and all weird things. But like on eBay, saw like these Britney Spears porcelain dolls. And I was like in the schoolgirl outfit. And I was like, this is the most amazing thing I've ever seen because it exists. And I wanted it so bad. And it was $20. And at the time, I did not have $20 to spend on a Britney Spears porcelain doll, which I regret now because they sell for a lot of money.
Yeah, it would have been so well worth it.
But it's just like weird stuff like that exists, and someone made it, and not necessarily to like, you know, the grand mainstream culture of that, but
Oh my gosh.
just anything, just like weird stuff.
Amen
this
again, I
weird
say
stuff.
to you. Just keep saying amen. Okay, same thing for you then. Are you getting to go and be creative in your work every day, or what are you waking up and doing? Funny.
So it's funny because I was thinking about this. I answered, so she asked these questions and we had to like send her the answers before. But
I'm not
after,
following them at all. I can't even see them.
I can't read them at all. No, but after like hearing other people's answers, which is all the same, like, yes.
What?
No, like I do marketing, and so problem solving is very creative. So I feel that outlet there.
Problem solving again.
Yeah. The job I have now in itself isn't as creative as previous jobs that I've had doing marketing. And I think that like kind of being here and seeing all of this I feel like that also helped bring out some of the creativity here, because in my past jobs, there were no boundaries. So you could do anything. It was adult industry, so you could market anything, you could do any kinds of ads, whatever. It was super fun and crazy. And then now my job is not that, and so it's a lot more limited. So I feel like this helps me express more of that, like, you don't talk about this in your daily life, so I'm gonna draw it and put it out there for you. Kind of thing.
Woo, heck yeah.
We should talk about it more.
Amen.
But I didn't realize that till just
We're
like
getting
very
a couple
recently.
questions.
Oh.
Ren. I'm totally selective with females. I'm sorry.
Well,
Ladies first.
As you were just talking, I was just curious. When I came and looked at your board, I definitely noticed the left side had a very different angle than the other side. And I'm just curious, like, when you're making your art, like, are you purposely trying to make like a female agenda, or however people want to say it, or is it just you're like, hey, I want to draw red jewels in my panties, like, I fucking love that one. But I'm curious, like, are you making that art as a purpose, or is it just because you're a female and it's just kind of happening as it goes? Because more than half the board has a strong lean.
So yeah, both, because I think as a female, everybody here knows what happens. And
Yeah.
you spend a week of your
Just say it. We have periods.
a week every month. You know, it's pretty shitty.
Yeah.
For me, it's shitty. Maybe it's not as shitty for you, or you know, some people take
tired.
But I mean, like, everybody here knows about it, and if you don't know about it, you're probably with somebody that experienced it. And the fact that so many people don't talk about it, like if you have a headache, and people say like, oh, I have a headache. But if you have cramps, or you're just feeling whatever other symptoms you have, everybody hides it and is like,
You have to wait.
oh, I have a headache.
Yeah.
And like, it fakes it. And ever since I got my period, it's been really shitty. And I don't feel like a reason to hide that. Like, that's my life. So in jobs, I've had male bosses. I'm like, I have cramps. I need to go home now. I can't come into work. I have cramps. I don't care if that makes you feel uncomfortable, because
Yeah. Hell yeah.
that's what I feel. And it's weird because I didn't start out intending to do that. I think
Oh, I love it.
it was like a random
the
word
banana
generator.
has a period. Everything has a period. I love it.
But I'm always like, SpongeBob has a period. Like the more,
Great.
it's not like a weird agenda thing, I think, but it's more like it should be an everyday conversation, because
Yes.
it's an everyday occurrence. Like, there's nothing unusual or bad about it. It's just something that happens. And like, I don't know, I did the other show with you,
You're the
and I had like
lady?
a little like statement. I said like, everybody shits, you know, half people get their period.
Yeah.
Like, whatever.
Wait, is there a book like that? Because there's the everybody poops, right?
There should be.
Yeah, there should be.
Is there a half the population periods? Like,
There should be.
She's gonna write it. Okay.
So blood slugs
Yeah.
is what we used to call our periods. And it's only because we had like so many drinks that I'm like actually saying this to a room full of people.
they're so tiny though. What are you talking
But
about?
like when you go to the bathroom, you get blood slugs going down the toilet, and that's where that came from.
Cheers.
Cheers to blood slugs, everybody. Thank you all for coming.
Yeah.
Give it up for Monica. So Monica, where can we find your stuff? Do you have like an additional? You're on Instagram.
Yeah, so I have a website that's not like super great. And I was just telling my friends, I don't know if people will get the reference, depending, It's called aroundthewaypearl.com. And it was like an old domain that I still own that I resurrected. That was originally intended to be a knitting website inspired by LL Cool J. And I had like grand intentions of all kinds of stuff. Like Around the Way Girl. But it's Around the Way Pearl. P-U-R-L. Like
You're
the
making
knitting
me think
stitch.
so many things. I don't even know what I'm thinking right now. Let's listen to some music. Let's have some cocktails. Let's hang out and get to know each other. We're all creatives, and you guys have all been so amazing and wonderful and warm. And thank you for making this night what you made it, because.